Hey, it is your creative word makeup artist pal Cat Sketch to bring you guys another really creepy makeup transformation video. Today we are going to turn into this wonderful, beautiful, eerie, scary art piece on a different take of The Skeleton Bride, made by the artist Emile Melmoth. Check them out on Instagram. This is such a wonderful art piece. Here's the name of it. It's just so eerie and haunting. Very well done. I want to recreate this on my face while telling some spooky ghost stories. So let's get started. This first story is by Majora420. Something invited itself into my friend's home. I've told this story online before, but this is the one haunting experience that really freaked me out. When I was younger, I had a next door neighbor named Lexi, and she was my best friend. Our parents would go on trips on motorcycles with each other, and we would camp out at one of our houses until they came back. It was normal for us. We never had any paranormal events prior to this specific night. We were sitting in a bedroom talking and doing what we normally did. We saw a bright light through her window, followed with the sound of motorcycles pulling into the gravel driveway. We instantly think, okay, our parents forgot something. But before we could even get up to leave the bedroom, we heard knocks and a soft woman's voice say, "Hello?" The front door opened. This was a familiar sound because the door scraped against the hardwood flooring. We panicked, thinking there was an intruder at this point because this woman didn't sound like anyone from our family. We have very Texan Southern accents. We scouted the house and scared out of our minds just to find the front door wide open and nobody in the driveway. Nobody was in the house. We finally felt better. We walked back into her bedroom, but before she went to enter her bedroom, she collapsed onto the floor and started sobbing. I didn't know what was happening. I was scared, and she told me something as tall as the door frame was standing in her parents' room. After our parents returned, her family continued to have paranormal activity in their house, and they moved out. This is from someone named Company Pizza. I manage a venue that used to be a Roman Catholic church and was then abandoned and used as a flop house for many years. I'm frequently in the building alone at night by myself, closing up after shows and club nights. But several strange things happened to me there. The first thing was I was really busy setting up for our event, and I was walking along the mezzanine area toward a room that everyone had told me was haunted. And while I love ghost stories, I don't really believe in the supernatural on a fundamental level. The last thing on my mind at this time was spooky stuff. I was en route from one area to another, on a mission to do some logistic task or another. I paused at the railing and suddenly I felt the sensation of being grabbed hard around the ankle, as though from below, which made no sense as it was a 25-foot drop down to the main floor. I leapt backwards and started shaking my leg and looked everywhere, but I saw nothing. The second thing that happened to me was I was taking a meeting in broad daylight with the collaborator. We were sitting on a push couch in the middle of the space, enjoying our conversation about a potential series of events we could do. But it was a business meeting. I left one cushion of space between him and myself on the couch, and suddenly, mid-sentence, I felt the distinct sensation of someone walking up to us and then sitting directly between us. We both paused and just stared at the cushion, which was moving. There was an impression as though someone had sat down and there was a palpable energy and tension in the air. It felt for all the world as though an invisible person was sitting right there. We sat frozen in silence for about 30 seconds, which is actually a long time, in the middle of a business meeting, of course. Staring at the cushion until I finally waved my arms through the space in exasperation and laughed. We were both confused and shaken and ended the meeting very quickly. Another instance, I had to supervise a group who was rehearsing in the space. I was hungover and got in the morning. led in the group and went upstairs into a secluded area to take a nap on the couch and wait out my shift. Mid-nap, I woke up suddenly and heard someone slowly descending the stairs from the bell tower. I froze and kept my eyes closed, thinking it was someone from the rehearsing group, and I just wanted them to go away. The footsteps drew closer to me, and I heard what sounded like a man muttering to himself under his breath as he leaned over me and grasped my hip hard. He squeezed it until it hurt. I let out a yell and opened my eyes, but there was nobody there. Probably just sleep paralysis, but it was very odd. I've never had a sleep paralysis instant ever in my life before. There were multiple other instances of seeing figures in mirrors, hearing doors slam, etc. People calling my name from distant corners when I'm there all by myself. The custodian once told me she refused to clean at night anymore since she heard someone quietly praying in the confessional at 3 a.m. Everyone likes to claim it's the ghosts of all these Irish Catholic priests and their parishioners, but in my opinion, the many years the church sat empty and desolate as a last resort shelter for drug addicts and prostitutes is more likely the window of time when people would have died desperate, lost, and in pain. This is from Kemosabe 4. I've had a few supernatural experiences, but the one I usually go to is when I worked in a supermarket. I grew up in a farm town, and the only place to get groceries besides the grossly overpriced Shopko in the edge of the town was the family-owned supermarket called Robertson's. The Robertson family was very active in the community, but also had a reputation of misery to straight-up evil, depending on who you asked. If you asked me and the rest of the bag boys, Robertson's had a dark aura around it. Many features contributed, like the vaulted ceilings in the back rooms and creaking floors in the stairs offices, and the door hidden behind a pile of old shelves that seemed to lead under the loading dock. The worst was the patriarchy of the Robertsons, Blaine. He was too old to handle the business decisions, but he was too stubborn to let his toupee-toting son take it out of his hands. So he spent his days shuffling around the floor, antagonizing the bag boys at every turn. He'd chastise us for clocking in more than 1 minute early. He chastised us for standing at the dock with a minute left on our shift. He chastised us for laziness the second we weren't actively moving any items. I always joked that Blaine was a vampire. He just refuses to die. Why else is there never a call over the intercom for kids who lost their parents? One night, my suspicions were reinforced. Blaine had shown up about 9 to take care of some office work upstairs. With all of our closing duties done, my partner for the night and I lollygagged in the stockroom right at the foot of the office stairs. When 10 rolled around and it was time to close, I figured I'd let Blaine know we were locking up. I started up the stairs and suddenly noticed it was dark. I got to the top and looked around. Not a single light in the office was on. We'd stood at the bottom of the stairs the whole time and Blaine hadn't passed us. Even when Blaine isn't looming like Nosferatu, strange things happen upstairs. The exposed water pipes leading upstairs twang like someone hit them with a hammer. Footsteps on the creaky floors echo through the whole back room. All of this happens when the offices are pitch black as we stand next to the stairs. One night, my partner and I got freaked out by the noises from the offices and decided to spend the remainder of the shift lapping the store. But as we walked perpendicular to the aisles, a can of green beans halfway down the vegetable aisle suddenly fell off the shelf. We put it back in place and started walking again. 2 aisles down, another can fell off. This time, as I put it back in place, a can 15 feet down the aisle flew off the shelf. We left that one sitting and huddled around the cash registers for the rest of the shift. To top it off, though a bag boy requested to be taken off night shifts after an experience he had in the break room has 2 small bathrooms, male and female. He was taking a dinner break when he heard a baby crying from the woman's bathroom. He had been in there for 5 minutes already and hadn't seen anyone come in, much less a baby. He endured the crying for 5 more minutes before he got concerned and knocked on the door. Repeated knocks and questions got nothing back except for the non-stop bawling. He was finally convinced something had happened to the mother and cracked the door open. The room was dark and empty. And those are just some spooky stories while we transformed into this crying, creepy skull bride. The original art piece from Emile Melmoth. Definitely check them out on Instagram. Their work is fantastic. Thank you all so much for watching. This was so much fun to do. I know this is so creepy and weird. Subscribe for more videos. There'll be a new video up every Friday. Leave a comment down below on what you would love to see as a makeup video idea for spooky Halloween season. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!